Start in 2 minutes. Yeah, so Brenna, you don't know Brenna, but Brenna, one of the people who grew up here in West Adams, daughter of a longtime person, but she was born here, is now a real estate agent with David. That's how long we've been here. And we've been on and off spending time at the actual city living office, going through the old real estate files and throwing as many out as we can, but we have a context, which is if the person's still living in the house, we want to keep.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, because just in case, A, they just, just in case they might want to list the house, but or B, they do list the house even with someone else, but we have a closing statement from before. But we've only gotten to about 1992.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's just really a big deal. And we're just trying to clear it all out because there's so many bankers boxes up here. Over there.
Just to change the subject for a second, the carpet looks fine, but they did put down some flooring. I don't know what it is, and actually, I don't like it because it's white. I wish they had gone with the cream.
If it's white, it's fine. I don't like it, but it evokes.
The period.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be Armstrong. I mean, in other words, I would have gone with, if you're going to do a checkerboard, I would have gone like with a cream and a yellow. You can still checkerboard it.
Yeah.
And in harsh.
And I did not, when I told
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're the only ones here, and it is 7:00. John thinks he won't be able to make it.
Okay.
Our tradition is to wait till 7:05.
Okay, that's
Yes.
fine.
Okay.
I don't know why we're looking worried.
Well, we're looking. Oh,
There's somebody. Oh, Michael.
right. Well, we're only looking. Where are we looking blurry? Are we looking blurry up there? Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
But I don't know why that.
Is there some? There's video settings. What do you filter? Oops. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if we should mess around with that. Are you in, it's not,
It doesn't do anything.
yeah. I mean,
Hi, Michael.
I will ask James to do a screenshot. You know, there's a debate, not a debate, but a political thing tonight with, I think all the candidates for CD10.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised. I got it, actually got it from Robin, and I sent it to James, and James called Grace and said, "Hey, let me tell you about this." I mean, so anyway, so I think he might be on his phone. He was doing something in the house, so he said he was going to listen on his phone. So I don't know if he can do a screenshot. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. That's what matters. I am looking in our folder.
You want to go to documents? And then
Okay, I can you hear me?
yes, we
Yes.
can hear you. Hey,
Sorry. I'm late?
No.
no,
Oh, I thought I was gonna have to put a quarter in the jar.
No, you're fine.
this is the last one. You're.
Well, what I was looking was for the thing I put up into the,
Or you're just going to open them and put them in.
well, this wasn't what I was going to do, but yes. This is what I was going to do. Okay. And then I'm going back to Zoom. Hi, Michael, I'm just talking to myself, well, and you and Teresa.
It's
But
okay.
Sort of, but just kind of talking to myself. So we thought, it's just the three of us, we thought we would kind of wait till 7:05 to officially start the meeting, and then.
No worries. I'm just trying to get back into a rhythm.
Yes. That's such a good idea. And then tomorrow night you'll come in person, right?
Yes.
Board meeting. And, yeah. Did you, other than sitting at the booth on Friday night, did you come back to the, did you come
No,
back?
unfortunately, Saturday I was not able to attend, and Sunday, my neighbors threw a big barbecue, and by the time we got there, everybody was
Yeah.
gone.
Right,
on
you mean
Sunday.
at UNNC? I just meant, well, no, not everybody at the block was gone, because they were there till
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah, the table was empty.
Yes.
And we were there for a
understood.
few minutes, but we just, we kind of gave it up. The party basically was, kind of dead. I think the weather killed it.
But not Sunday night. You
Sunday
mean-
night was terribly crowded.
Yeah.
Oh, was
actually.
it?
Oh,
By the
my
time
God.
we got there, it was not. People were closing.
Yeah, so no, Sunday night was crazy busy.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
I mean, it was so busy that people kept moving their chairs farther and farther south to the point where the UNNC booth was hidden by people in their chairs.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was, we didn't leave until 9 o'clock. So,
Oh, I don't know what time I got there. My next door neighbors threw a big barbecue. There must have been 15 or 20 people. And we walked up after it was over. But as I said, at that point, the table was empty when we got there.
Well, I
So-
will say that your other neighbors, I'm forgetting their names, the couple.
Ian and Allison?
Correct. They were there and rocking is what was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ian came by the barbecue and he was rocking when he got there.
Got it.
And we
Practicing,
continued to
was he?
rock much after that. I brought a couple from Montreal with me who were attending the party. They were in LA for the week. But as I said before, when we got there, everything was kind of over. I don't know
Yeah.
what time. I have no idea what time it was.
Okay, well, why don't we just go ahead and start the meeting? It's 7:05 and I'm calling trying to remember to talk to the screen. I'm calling the UNNC Planning and Zoning Committee meeting to order. And we're going to review the standing rules and do introductions and voting affirmations and then review the agenda. So the UNNC standing rules, and I think for those of us who are currently present, this is easy. This committee is composed of two co-chairs who have been appointed by the board, and that would be myself, Laura Myers, and John Arnold. And then on any given night where we are meeting, community stakeholders who are present would be considered members of the committee in that they may introduce motions, may obviously participate in discussion, and they may vote. We are an advisory committee. We give advice to our governing board, which in turn makes decisions and gives advice to other city officials. A community stakeholder is someone who lives, works, attends school, is a parent of a child who attends school, worships, and or is otherwise engaged in community interest organizations. And those community interest organizations must actually have a brick and mortar presence within the UNNC boundaries, and they also need to be a nonprofit. So that if you're a for-profit organization and you have the brick and mortar, that's still okay because it's a workplace, no doubt. So that said, I'm Laura Myers. I live in Angeles Vista, and it is my intention, I am a community stakeholder, and it's my intention to vote tonight if there's any voting to be done.
Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Masonette. I represent the West Adams Avenues on the board of the UNNC, and I'm a stakeholder and will vote if necessary.
Okay, now we're moving to the Zoom participants, and I'm just going to call on you in the order I see you. So Steve Peckman.
Hello, I'm Steve Peckman. I'm a resident of Jefferson Park, and I will vote on any motions where there's voting.
Okay, Michael.
Michael Kimbrough. I'm a UNNC representative with, along with Teresa. We represent the avenues, and I've been on and off a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee. And tonight I'm in attendance, and I will also be voting.
And Audrey. If
Here we
you're,
go. My
Here we
name
go.
is Audrey Arlington. I'm a resident of Jefferson Park. I'm here for the second item on the agenda.
okay, thank you. And that would be who's here. So I'm going to share the screen with our agenda. And tell me if you all can see this.
Yes,
So we really have a relatively short agenda tonight. We have general public comments, and then there is an appeal of the determination that was made for 3020 South Crenshaw Boulevard, which I think I spelled this wrong. The Coakside Theater is proposed for an adaptive reuse into an event hall, which will not necessarily every time, but would be permitted to include dancing and or alcohol. And this is as an event center, sorry. And then, anyway, the next door neighbor appealed, next door business appealed. And then the next case is a ministerial case, a permanent affordable housing at 2510 West Jefferson. And it's proposed as 100% affordable, 4 stories, 18 units plus 1 additional unit for the manager. And then there's likely some follow-up to previous cases. We'll see how it goes. So, okay, so I'm going to stop the share. And are there any general public comments or announcements on any item that would be of interest or in the bailiwick of the Planning and Zoning Committee? Okay, well, I do have one. In tonight's agenda packet, and I did forget to move it over so I could share the screen, but Metro is having 2 open houses this month, 1 virtual and 1 in person, regarding the northern extension of the Crenshaw K line. So in other words, the light rail line that goes from LAX, well, it doesn't yet go to LAX, but the LAX to Crenshaw Expo line, there is also general plans, but I don't know, are they gonna be the next 4 years or 20 years from now, to take the Crenshaw LAX line from its current terminus at Expo and Crenshaw up to Hollywood. And there had been, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, a scoping session that was many hours long with discussing the different potential routes. So this open house, I don't know if it's going to focus in on fewer routes or on the environmental or what. So if you're interested, I have uploaded into the agenda packet the information. And I will also, UNNC will also send it out via our MailChimp, and I know you're all on MailChimp, e-blast. So, any other announcements that would not be follow-up in old business? Okay, moving on. The next item is the review of this appeal. And it's case number ZA 2023-1767, CUB, CUX, and then the 1A that's now on the agenda means it's an appeal, number 1 appeal, at 3020 South Crenshaw Boulevard. So UNNC had voted essentially to support the application, and we went to the hearing. And in the determination, we kind of got what we asked for. Maybe Teresa, you want to explain what we asked for? Just to remind, because these people may not have been there.
Yes, well,
Brief.
yes. the main thing that I asked for, no, we actually advocated to have an additional, for them to relinquish one parking space and to give us a tree. And the zoning administrator read the letters that were submitted and agreed that that was a reasonable ask, and said when they repave and or stripe that area that they are to give us a large canopy tree. Since then, the Burger King, and as you guys, many of you know, the Burger King shares an easement with that theater, and there, besides the 13 spots adjacent to the building, there are 30 other spots that to give an area of 44 spots. They have, the owner of that Burger King is the entity that has filed the appeal. It has nothing to do with the tree or the parking. It has to do with what?
Well, they're not saying it has anything to do with the tree or the parking. And it's a reciprocal easement that's been there for decades and decades. So each entity, the Burger King and the theater owner, whoever that may be, each can use the parking lot. So they're saying the reason is, well, they said a couple of reasons. One is they're saying that they never were notified at all about the hearing. So that is nothing UNNC is going to comment on, for sure. I mean, if that is true, if there's no evidence that anybody ever mailed them anything, the city attorney will make a decision as to will there be another hearing or not. Or if the hearing at the Area Planning Commission is like a do-over kind of hearing. I mean, they'll make a decision on that. And then beyond that, they're saying that the alcoholic beverages are essentially not a community benefit. They're bad. And they are also saying, again, the whole appeal is in the agenda packet. I'm just looking through it fast. If anyone wants me to actually scroll through it on the screen, I can do it. But yeah, Steve, do you have a question while I'm looking at this, or do you want me to finish mumbling here?
I don't have a question. I have several comments.
Okay. Well, so I'll just quickly finish. They basically said also that somehow only the Westwood Village specific plan allows permits for dancing or live entertainment in conjunction with a restaurant, which this isn't a restaurant, and only in the area governed by the Westwood Village specific plan. I actually have no clue why they brought this up, so I don't know. And they also are concerned that the patrons attending the banquet hall and consuming alcoholic beverages would likely park on the adjacent parking lot. So in other words, where they have the reciprocal easement, rather than using the valet and using the parking structure that this applicant had proposed. And that in addition, that the use of the valet in the alley to accommodate the cars is going to have an impact not just on the adjacent property, but excessive noise to the residential properties, facing Bronson, I assume. And beyond that, they're concerned that appellants, would face potential liability for the conduct of drivers who have consumed alcohol, and the link between alcohol consumption and traffic accidents is beyond dispute. So that essentially the change in the use of the subject property would likely have a material adverse impact on appellants, and again, that's the Burger King. Appellants were deprived of the opportunity to demonstrate that material adverse impact because they were not given notice to which they were entitled by statute. So again, we can't know if they were or weren't, or if it got lost in the mail. Steve.
Yeah, I don't think the notice, as you said, is our issue. Although a lot of that could have been avoided if the applicant actually did what we asked them to do over 2 different meetings, which was meet with the Burger King folks and discuss what they wanted to do. We actually begged them to do that, and they dismissed it out of hand, just like they dismissed a whole lot of other stuff. Though I'm sympathetic with the idea of having a transition of this theater to an event place, I do understand the neighbors' concern about liability, because clearly people could go from the event theater to the Burger King and eat, even though they've consumed alcohol at the event theater. And I don't know about the legal liability that then Burger King has regarding drunk driving, right? So there are all kinds of intertwined issues here. I do have a question, then a couple other comments. The question is the appeal from corporate Burger King or the licensee?
It is from the LLC that purchased the franchise from the longtime franchise holder, which was.
Okay, so it's not the corporate Burger King, it's the licensee.
No, it's an entity, it's an LLC in Santa Monica.
Okay.
Actually, the name is on the agenda.
Okay, so then I guess my final comment is it is supposed to be a shared parking lot. And so
Right.
if the zoning administrator feels that this is an appropriate use of the theater, and even though I object to the alcohol dispensing on the premises, if the zoning administrator thinks that's okay, then I think Burger King has to suck it up and share the parking lot that's already in the easement requirements. And I think that the UNNC should support the applicant again in terms of the appeal, because I think that transitioning the theater to an event place is a reasonable use of that building. I think that the people who wanted to use the building have agreed to all the stipulations about the African-American and Japanese-American community history that's embodied in that building and how they will display it. As I recall, they agreed to all those stipulations, and I'm assuming that was part of their application. So barring anything else, I think that the community and the UNNC as a body representing the community should continue to support the applicant, even though I disagree with many things that the applicant has said and done during these meetings.
Okay, so Michael, you're next. But you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, as I stated previously in our board meeting, I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I understand, with all due respect to the issues that you're talking about, the trees and the cultural aspect of it, all of that's fine and dandy. This is CIM. They're going to tell you everything you want to hear. At the end of the day, they are going to abuse the facility after a certain time. There's going to be drinking, loud and crazy activities well after midnight. And if we're not taking a strong stand on the time that they can serve alcohol, we're making a grave mistake. Grave mistake. If we're going to support this, they can't serve alcohol beyond 11 o'clock, something like that. We can't let them be open until 2 o'clock and have every knucklehead down there drinking and making noise. And every 5 minutes, I've got a helicopter riding over my house, or I hear woo, 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 because somebody got shot. And that's where it's going to go, because they are not prepared for what is going to be required to control the community. They just want to make money. So I could not be more in objection to this situation as it stands now. I think the conditions need to be much stronger.
Okay, so I am going to share the screen because it appears that I cannot look at what the conditions were without you guys seeing me do it anyway. So you may as well share it so you can officially see it.
Well, I recall from before, Laurel, that they were talking about 2 a.m. liquor sales.
Well, yes, but I want to see what the zoning administrator gave them.
Okay, and they need to be. Go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And Donna has her hand up, and then I think Steve put his hand back
I
up.
have a comment too.
And Teresa will have a comment, but Donna has not had a comment yet. And I'm going to scroll through here to see what the zoning administrator said while we're doing this. And so Donna?
I wanted
Donna?
to make the comment that Burger King has a full encampment on their parking lot on the south side of their property. They do not take care of their property. I find it highly interesting that they have the nerve to complain about something that is being planned for the community, and they're not taking care of what they already own in the community. Right now, anyone who drives down there can drive to the 99-cent side of this property and observe what's going on. They don't take care of it. It is dirty. It is not maintained. They own that parking lot, a huge one. And right now, there's trash, there's cars being kept there, there's all kinds of activities that don't seem very nice right now. And that's been going on for months.
You're right,
Not-
Dawn. I agree with you. It's almost unbelievable pulling in there the way they keep that lot.
And you know what? Half the time, they don't even have what they're supposed to have. If you'd like to purchase something, they don't have it. So they need to be dealt with. And they have the nerve to be talking about what someone else, or they weren't notified. They need to be notified about the upkeep of the existing property that they own, the LLC.
Okay, Teresa, then Steve.
I want to, this has nothing to do with what Donna just said. That's probably true, all of that. But I think that if someone holds an event in that event space, there will be party goers who do not use the valet and who do park in that joint parking space. The same way there are people hold events and people park on the street in a neighborhood and everybody gets mad because people chose not to use the valet. So I think that is a legitimate concern of Burger King, even though right now they don't maintain that area very well. But there will be people who park in that adjacent lot and probably on the other side too. And maybe that's just part of what happens when you have shared easement. And I don't know if we can, what kind of comment we can make on that, because I do think that will happen to them. And I don't know, I don't really have a comment on the serving of alcohol at up to 11 or up to 2 o'clock. I don't know if there's a liability issue if people are drinking there and they decide, oh, we're going to go over to Burger King. If it's the same way if someone is drinking somewhere else and they go somewhere, I don't know if that Johnny Pastrami's can be held responsible, or somebody else can be held responsible because somebody was drinking at Johnny Pastrami. So that's all I have to say right now.
Okay, so Steve, you have your hand up, and then in effect, I
I
have
have
my
one
hand.
more question. I have one more comment. That's all.
So
Okay.
I totally hear what Michael is saying, and I support it with a caveat, which is that this seems awful late in the game to be bringing up some of these issues. It's been to this committee 3 times, I think. It's been to the UNNC board. I think there were plenty of opportunities to opine on some of those issues and try to get something done. I think it's already been to the zoning administrator. It'd be very difficult, and I think wrong of the community and our representatives at UNNC to all of a sudden now go back and want to relitigate all of these details. I will say that, as I recall, in the zoning administrator's letter, it says that no live music after 11 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't recall what it says about alcohol.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. Okay, it seems to me, regardless, that the current major occupant of that shared lot is Burger King, and that the neighbors have serious complaints about Burger King as a neighbor, and it's disingenuous of Burger King to now state that it's on the side of the community in order to stop this project from happening. So 2 points I'll reiterate. One is, though I agree with Michael's points, I think that the opportunities to really weigh in and make a substantive difference in this, in what they're asking for, that's come and gone and that we need to hold Burger King equally responsible to be responsive to the community's concerns as we do this new vendor in the theater. And I think UNNC and this committee is the proper venue to start looking at what Burger King is doing in order to disrupt the community.
Okay, if I could just let you
That's
know.
a separate issue than this, and I want to keep them separate, but I don't want to deny those issues that were raised tonight either.
Okay, if I could just clarify, Steve, these issues did come up at the governing board. Michael and several other community board members had concern about the consumption of alcohol and the time it was going to stop. They had concern about the noise, so these things were addressed. However, after some negotiations, the board voted the way it did. So
Right.
Michael did bring his concerns to the board, and there were many people who agreed with him. So we just.
But not enough for a majority vote.
Correct.
No, not enough. But I mean, what you just said, Michael should have brought this up. He did. So.
Right.
Thank you.
Anyway, go ahead.
Wait. I get a turn.
You have to raise your hand.
I did. I said.
I cut her off, sorry.
No, I did. I said, and after Teresa and Steve, I have my hand raised.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I think I recall that the 2 a.m. end time included the cleanup, and what I'm seeing that did not happen in this ZA determination is it has an end time for entertainment. It does not have an end time for alcohol. Of food service. So if I were, they're not asking for an earlier end time, so that wouldn't be something we would do. But if I were CIM, I'd be meeting with Burger King, with the ownership entity, and offering a compromise in there, because they did not intend to serve alcohol till 2 a.m. They intended
to close operation at 2 a.m.
Correct, meaning somebody's rented the place for a wedding, because this is a banquet hall. It's not
They need to
CIM.
have the facility closed at 2 a.m.
Correct. So in order to do that, that's like having filming in the neighborhood. We always say tail lights at.
Yeah. So
10,
you're looking at like a
10.
midnight cutoff.
Exactly, and there is not that in here, but nor did we ask for that. I mean, so we could, I don't know. I mean, the purpose of having this agenda item was to sort of address their concerns as if they were concerns we had not ourselves discussed. So we had obviously and have nothing to say about whether or not they were properly notified. Because either they were or they weren't, and that's a city attorney kind of adventure. We have already weighed in on the alcohol for good or bad, as Teresa said, but as Steve said, but also as Michael said, but we did have the discussion. But again, I note that the ZA decision actually didn't put an end time, so we could at least point that out, not even suggest an end time, but just say, what's the end time for alcohol? Because that's unclear in this determination. But the question would normally be, do we support the appeal or do we not support the appeal?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I drove by there today.
Yeah.
Is there not a parking structure adjacent to the building to the north?
Yes, that's what they're planning to use for their parking. Their
So
whole.
why is the shared parking lot with Burger King even an issue?
They are having a business dispute, as near as I can tell. They don't get along very well. For all I know.
I'm sorry, who doesn't get along very well? It's all owned by CIM.
The ownership of the Burger King and the ownership of the theater.
So
Yeah, they told us that. They actually told us that.
But wait,
So
Laura, my understanding is that the theater people want what is rightfully theirs.
Correct.
Which is some parking spaces within that parking lot and some of those shared spaces, which they're entitled to.
Correct.
Wait a second. Who said they have to be shared? I mean, isn't Burger King entitled to their own parking?
No,
It's dated that way.
It's the easement.
it's a reciprocal easement, Michael, and it dates back decades and decades.
All right, I didn't
So-
understand that. Okay.
Right, so
So
when
that's the
they
issue right now.
knew that when they bought the property in
Well-
2021.
Yes,
Okay.
but remember, CIM bought that from West Angeles, and it included many parcels, so this
Sure,
is just,
understood. So let
okay,
me
now
ask-
we gotta take this.
Riddle me this, guys, just for discussion. Is it possible, because we've done this weighed in on how Burger King takes care of their lot? Isn't it entirely possible that they're using we didn't get notice as a delay tactic? Is that possible in anybody's mind?
Well, anything's possible, but again, UNNC would have nothing to do with the notice.
Understood, but I'm just trying to get my arms around the entire situation.
There could be so many different motivations for this, noting that just as if a community group appealed, it's not expensive for a neighbor to appeal a case.
Okay.
It's
Here's where I wanna go with
expensive. So in other words, if CIM felt that it had to appeal based on planting of trees, that they would have had to pay the same fee as they originally paid to apply for the conditional use permit in the first
I
place.
get that.
But neighbors only pay it's probably about $140 at this point. So
I would hope
So-
it's not just a matter of the fee schedule between two big companies.
no, I think the point was it's easy for them to appeal.
Right.
And I don't want to make it hard for people to appeal.
No, of course not. No. But having been involved in several CUP cases and made
Right.
and pleaded before the ZA for terms and conditions for my clients, here's my main concern, guys. I don't want CIM to rent this place out every night to a different rap promoter.
They already said they were not.
So what?
They are running the operation themselves. they
That
are
tells
not-
me nothing, Laura. That tells
Have
me
they-
nothing. How do we
And
tie
they're
them
not
to this?
renting it out, Michael. My understanding is that they're not renting it out to a promoter who's gonna sell tickets.
Oh, right, there are no tickets.
Yes, so
There are no tickets.
No, but you can have a guest list and send out invitations, letting people know that you can come that night. What do you mean there's no tickets? You mean there's
They
no, you
cannot
don't pay
sell,
at the
they
door?
cannot sell tickets.
Yeah.
At the door to get in,
Correct.
no admission.
Correct. They can't sell tickets, period, although obviously that's probably not very enforceable. But
That's
they
what I
cannot
mean.
sell
How do we
tickets
put
at the
teeth-
door.
How do we put teeth into this so that they don't have,
Well,
I don't hire a guy who has a mailing list of 2,000 people that tells me Humpty Hump is going to be there on Tuesday night and leave it at
300
that.
Because the maximum occupancy and attendance is 368, which is still a lot of people. But remember, this was built as a theater and performance space. Period. So if CIM, I know, Steve, you have your hand up again, but if CIM said, forget it, we're going to keep it a performance space for rap music, they could.
Yes.
What they can't do is have dancing at a wedding without changing the use to an event space. So
Okay, and I get that.
that
If
you're
we're gonna-
talking about, they could do tomorrow.
If they're going to limit it to weddings and banquets, I get that. And I understand that. But what I'm afraid of is the event space that on Thursday night, there's 300 or 400 people there and the spillovers in the parking lot and they're drinking. And the next thing I hear is pap, 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 and a lot of sirens.
right,
And
but
that's
Michael,
where I
we
see
can't,
this going.
right, but the board has already taken a position on that. So
Right.
I think it'd be unwise of us to come back and try to address that, when I think we should just stay with the items in the
Right,
agenda.
because because the appellant did not seemingly concern themselves with that.
Wow.
I mean, again, I think they want something, and I don't think what they want is what's stated in the appeal. And
You're talking
Steve-
about Burger
Steve-
King.
Yes, well, that's all we're talking about is.
But isn't it
Burger-
our job to protect our neighborhood, guys?
Not in this case. Our job is to evaluate the appeal.
Yes, and Michael, that is our job, but that came up before the board and the board made a decision.
Right, we're done with that piece of it.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
we're looking at the appeal. Steve, I think we're looking at.
You're on mute, Steve.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted. A couple things. One is, I agree with Michael. It is our responsibility to represent the community and the community's concerns. I also agree that the board has already made a decision on a lot of these items, and I think that decision should stand. And so I'm going to make a motion, which is that we support the applicant in the face of this appeal. However, I think we need to have a caveat, and clearly I'm in support of Michael's position here, which is that the zoning administrator needs to come down with a decision about the time limit for alcohol. And I'm open to whatever people think is appropriate, but I'm going to throw out there a midnight cutoff of alcohol should be part of the ZA determination. That should not go unsaid, whatever that time restriction is.
Steve, I agree with you. Can we make it 11 o'clock? Because that's what time the entertainment stops.
Fine with me.
I'm okay with that.
I was okay with it not having alcohol at all. So 11 o'clock
me
is
too.
good for me.
I agree.
So, and can I just say, I'm gonna have a wedding there, and you're telling me that I have to stop serving alcohol and stop playing music at 11 o'clock?
Well, they already have stopped playing the music.
You cannot, according to,
Live music. Oh, you're
Live
right.
music.
Live music at 11.
Live music, is that what we're talking about, or just if I have a,
Well,
you know,
Teresa?
live music, and I follow up with the DJ, it's Friday night, Saturday night.
I don't know if
DJ
you could
is still
follow up
live.
with, I don't know if you could follow up with the
DJ is not
DJ.
on.
I don't know that you could follow up with the DJ according to this determination. We'd have to go to that section where it talks about music.
The
But-
slippery slope.
I just feel like, why would I even have an event there? If I'm gonna have a wedding reception and I have to end it at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, why in the world am I having an event?
Then maybe
think-
that's not the place for you.
Right. I agree with Michael. But anyway, that's my motion. I hope someone will second it.
I'll second it.
Donna,
Hang on.
you're on mute, Donna?
Okay, hang on, you guys.
I see it. I see it, Laura. After
Right.
11, no amplified music.
Right, except if they've done a study by a qualified acoustical engineer that such sound will not result in the violation.
Oh,
See 14B.
yeah.
So I think this is not,
That's a noise complaint. That means that the neighbors can complain and call the police.
no, I understand. I believe what the zoning administrator is saying is that 11 PM for anything that has vibrations, noise, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
out. And then, however, if the owners actually hire a qualified acoustical engineer who that person then certifies that such sounds will not result in a violation of the citywide noise ordinance after 11 PM, then they could continue to play music and include the DJ. So the DJ is part of the live entertainment.
Yes,
Mhm.
to me, this is a reasonable restriction.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, no, I understand. So 11 PM for anything live unless they hire somebody. But what Teresa's point is, I think, and I would go with this
And Donna,
myself,
it's your turn.
and Donna has her hand up, but I think, we've all been to events. So the live music ends and it's another 30 or 40 minutes before people leave. So maybe they're still drinking their wine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe still a bottle sitting on the table because every table at a wedding has a bottle of wine. So I don't think it's necessarily fair or even reasonable to say that the moment the live entertainment ends is also the moment the alcohol ends.
It's
Well,
no,
that's
I also
but
think-
Laura, it's
Donna.
about serving. It's
Wait,
not
wait,
about
guys,
it's not
guys.
about the alcohol that has been served. It's about continued
Gonna
serving
make my
after 11.
comment now.
Yeah, Donna's gonna
I
make
think
a
it's
comment.
only fair,
Mhm.
you guys, I guess, would have called on the music festival, because we were definitely bumping the music after 11. So Michael, I hope you call the police.
No, Donna, you're missing my point.
Okay.
No,
It's not
let
that.
me
It's
finish my
continued
point.
Consumption.
We have no place in this neighborhood nice in order to rent for a wedding, a wedding shower, or anything where we can do what normal neighborhoods do. Because first of all, this community was sort of redlined, and we weren't, the ones we did have were taken away. So I, for one, would love a space that I could have a wedding for someone in my family or a baby shower other than a church or Wilfendale. And then they tried to shut them down. So there you go. That's just my attitude. I agree, we should not be disruptive. We should not have activities that cause problems, but they shoot in the valley. They shoot everywhere.
I don't want them shooting
What we
here.
need to do is follow and make sure that there are security guidelines followed, which is what we did at our festival. So that's just my attitude.
Yeah, okay. There's nothing wrong with that, Donna.
Okay.
But we can't police the security operation. How do you
I-
We have
enforce
to
that?
set- So we have to move forward.
I know we do. Can I just, can
Oh,
I
hold on.
ask the mover, that would be Steve, and Michael's the seconder?
Yes,
Yes,
It just feels to me that this started out, that the motion started with support the applicant with a caveat that the zoning administrator set a reasonable time for the end of end of alcohol.
Alcohol. yes.
And then we've now gotten ourselves into this whole thing about what time. And wouldn't it, I mean, I feel like since we already voted, meaning the governing board already voted to support alcohol, that we would limit us, I mean, ask the zoning administrator to make a professional decision rather than us having this.
I disagree,
about
Laura.
which is the correct time.
I
well, first
disagree.
of
I
all,
think we
that was
can,
not my motion. My motion included a time that
Yes.
was reasonable. And I threw out the time of midnight. It was amended to 11. I stand
Amended.
by my motion that we should recommend to the zoning administrator that time.
Which
the
one?
sale of
Which
alcohol.
time? Which,
the scale-
it's not, they're not selling.
The sale and dispensing of alcohol should end.
Dispensing, they're
by
not selling, they're dispensing.
Fine,
Only just,
fine, thank you.
Wait a second.
Dispensing
Wait.
of alcohol should end at 11.
Well, wait a second. It is a sale, isn't it? Aren't they selling
No.
alcohol?
no.
I'm
They're not
having a
selling-
wedding.
It's
I'm having
serving.
a
You're
wedding.
Serving.
You're focusing on the wedding, which might happen once a month. I'm worried about the night to night rental.
Okay, there's
of
no
place.
sales of alcohol.
I think that we're focusing on the wrong thing, which is sales versus serving. The
Yes.
important issue here is serving. My motion is about serving alcohol ending at 11.
I have a question because I'm not clear. I see number 19. Food service will be available whenever alcoholic beverage service is available.
Right, because
are
they don't want people just serving up a whole bunch of alcohol.
I understand, but I'm asking the question because my interpretation of what we've heard so far is that on any given night, they're selling alcohol in conjunction with the event space.
There's no
Is that not true?
sale.
They're serving.
No, they're only serving it. In other words, they're gonna have an in-house caterer. CIM is gonna be the caterer. They're not having people bring in their own caterers. So that's another thing. It doesn't say that. It's not a
I wasn't
requirement.
aware of that. I was not
Yeah,
aware.
it's
of that.
not a requirement in the operational conditions, but that is what they said because they don't want the place to be wrecked. Can we just be clear on this? They're gonna have spent an awful lot of money on its restoration of the historical stuff. So they don't wanna have to keep doing that. So there's gonna be an LAPD, cafe entertainment shows
I see it. I
permit.
see it, Laura. I take it all back. I did not understand. Premises shall not be utilized or operated as a nightclub at any time. That's clear. I'll support it. I was not aware of that.
Okay, but now Steve has said 11 PM and I'm feeling like that's just a little early.
It may be. I may be willing to go back to 12 with you, Steve.
Okay,
I
midnight.
was not aware of the conditions that I have now been made aware of.
Okay, my motion is as originally stated, midnight.
Yes, I'll support that as well.
And I'd like to call the
Can you please read it again?
I can. But I'm still writing it.
Right. Did you raise your hand again, Donna, or is that?
Okay,
from
let
before?
me just read this again. So that essentially we're recommending that we support the applicant, not the appellant, with the caveat that the zoning administrator clarify his determination and limit the dispensing of alcohol and food to midnight.
Yes. I'm okay with that.
And Donna, your hand is up. Is your hand
It's
still up?
down.
Okay.
I think she's satisfied as well.
Okay. So that we are recommending to the governing board that we support. Yeah, the zoning administrator did not render an opinion on that.
Right, and so I think it's always been, or at least as long as I've been participating in this committee, it's always been the committee's position to have a time limit on alcohol set in the ZA's determination letter. The lack of one, I'm assuming, is an oversight. So we're just going to be helpful here.
Yeah, it may be an oversight, or it may be, there keep being new laws at the state level that limit what a city can do.
Okay.
So that ABC may have its own rules for what the city can and can't do.
Anyway, there's a motion and a second.
Yeah, and it's just to support the applicant with a caveat that the zoning administrator clarify his determination and limit the dispensing of alcohol and food to midnight.
Yep.
Okay. All right, all in favor, please raise
Do a
your,
Do a roll call.
I'll do a roll call. Never mind, I'm doing a roll call. Steve,
Yes.
Donna,
No,
Michael,
Yes.
Audrey, are you voting?
Abstaining.
Okay, Teresa
No,
Woo.
and Laura. Oh, shoot. Chair is supposed to break the tie, isn't she? I'm voting no. So drawing board is.
So we need a new motion.
Correct. And we'll only do one more because we're going to run out of time too. So what's the new motion? Are we, is it just to support
the applicant.
the applicant and retain our original?
Restate
Position.
the original position, yes.
Okay, so Teresa's motion is to support the applicant, oppose the appeal, and retain our original position. Is there a second?
I second.
Second. I'm now just going to run through our, since we know everybody's position. Steve,
No.
Donna,
Yes,
Michael.
Yes, I was away from the computer. What?
Oh,
I'm
the new
sorry.
motion, yeah, sorry, don't say yes. The new motion is very simple, that we support the
I'm not. Go ahead.
applicant, oppose the appeal, and retain UNNC's original
No.
position.
I don't support that.
Okay, Audrey, I imagine you're still abstaining? But I shouldn't tell you that. What's your position?
Still abstaining.
Okay, Teresa
Yes.
and Laura. Yes. So it passes. Sorry, guys.
Does it,
passes.
does it pass? How many yeses are there?
3 yes, 2 no. Oh, no, it doesn't pass.
It's not a majority of those.
Yeah, you're right. It does not pass.
It has to be,
It has to be majority. Yeah, abstain counts as a no.
okay.
Okay,
So,
so,
and I don't know, who is this woman, Marion, that keeps, is that your wife, Steve?
yeah,
I mean, is that why she's coming in now, so she can support this? Because then I'll just ask my husband to join in too. I mean, is that what's
No.
happening here?
I don't know. We're not even in the same room. I have no idea.
And I'll
She
get on
will-
mine.
Wait, guys.
Okay, well,
I'm
you said only
guessing
twice, so then that's it anyway.
Yeah,
So
Marina
we're-
would probably be here for the next
Okay, that's,
item. So,
well, but she keeps coming and going, so
oh,
I don't know.
I had not seen that, but
No,
I
I
know
saw her, I
her.
was gonna let her in, but then she left. so
She's
I
one of
thought
the
she walked in
advocates
with
for the
Steve.
Jefferson Park.
Okay, fine.
So, and she has independent thought.
Okay.
Very independent.
Very
I take great umbrage at the implication that somehow she's doing what I'm telling her to do.
Okay, so we're taking, essentially, we're not gonna take a position, and I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, okay, then let's go
Okay,
to the next
Let's
thing.
move on to the next item. So the next item on this agenda is case number, reminding myself to face the screen. Case number ADM 2023-5599 RDPED1 2510 West Jefferson. And this, we do not have plans. I'm trying to get them. They're not posted. They're invisible to us at the moment. It's a proposed 100% affordable housing, permanent, PSH, permanent supportive housing ministerial project. It's 18 affordable units, one manager, 4 stories on one single lot. And it's within 3 overlays, the HPOZ, the CPIO, and the Mid-City Corridors redevelopment plan. So the RDP in the title is redevelopment plan. The ED1 in the title is the mayor's emergency declaration that anything 100% affordable is supposed to be going through a ministerial process. What I do not know is how they can do a ministerial process with no design review, or are they having design review and just not public? Is it just staff at the HPOZ, the CPIO, and for the mid-city corridors, since it's an RDP case? So what I was hoping we could just discuss our ideas, and I can take them back and ask questions of the planning department. So again, we know nothing other than it's 4 stories. Steve?
What kind of ideas can we have if we have no plans to see and review and comment upon?
Our ideas may be, dear planning department, is it, is it brick? Is it commercial? In other words, I don't know that
Well,
particular.
if that's the case, Laura, then I would say that we should tell the planning department, the planning and zoning committee cannot make any decisions regarding this project or recommendations because we have no project to review.
Well, do we want to say that we would ask that they send this project to the HPOZ for a consultation because they might get some good
I
ideas?
believe it's been to the HPOZ.
This one has been to the
And Audrey
HPOZ?
and Marina can opine on that. My understanding, it's already been to the HPOZ board.
Okay, Audrey or Marina, has it been to the HPOZ? Because I don't see
More
anything.
than once.
This one has.
Been
This
more
is
than
not,
once.
this is not the one on the corner of St. Andrews and Jefferson.
Believe
We
me, I
understand
know that.
Okay, so, okay, well, do share. What does it look like?
Well, first of all, I have a more fundamental question. Why aren't there plans before this committee? I
Well,
mean, when
that's
you
one of the
contacted them to
concerns.
tell them that this was going to be on the agenda, did they just go, oh, well, whatever? Why aren't there plans?
Okay, they were not apparently required to submit plans online for the public to see. If you're telling me it was already in the HPOZ, if you happen to have a date, we could probably grab the plans from that.
I don't think that's
You shouldn't have
appropriate.
to.
I think that the plan should be provided for this committee to review. And I'm going to make a motion right now, which is this committee should reject this proposal until such time there are plans to be reviewed and discussed.
Okay,
I hope there's a second to that motion.
like, I understand, but it's not about voting to I mean, I don't know how effective it is to vote to reject it so much as what I think I really want is the authorization to demand that the planning department follow the MOU, which is Memorandum of Understanding, that all cases, the plans are to be shared with the neighborhood councils. It's a long-standing agreement. Even if in the end, we can't influence the outcome, our role is to share the information with the public.
Laura, I think that should be a matter of policy, that it's hard to put something on an agenda and discuss it if there's really nothing of substance to discuss.
Well, Steve, you are aware that it's also, this same case is on the early notification system. So anyone who signed up for that would have also received the same information that I have on the agenda.
Right, but my point is I don't think you need a motion and a vote by this committee for the UNNC to make a decision about, when I've always understood it's a matter of policy that this committee receives plans to discuss. So
Sure.
there's nothing stopping you from going to the planning department and saying, hey, what's up? You guys didn't do what's agreed to.
Right. So, and that's great, but does anybody have a thought on when this was at the HPOZ? Because if I had a date for that, we would at least be able to pull the plans pretty quickly.
Wow, I'm just assuming it's the same one. It's in the vacant lot. Is this
Yeah,
a vacant lot?
I'm looking at it now on Google, and it's a mid-block, and
Right.
it's a vacant lot with an alley in the rear for rear access.
Right, but I
I
can't,
remember it. It came to the HPOZ
Okay,
board.
I have
I
dates.
can't remember if it was a consultation or if they ultimately voted on it. That I can't remember.
I
But it
have a
came
date,
twice.
thank you, Audrey. What's the date?
January 3rd. It came for one of its consultations. I have a full set of plans here, but again, this should not be, you don't rely upon one of us to happen to have them. As Steve says, these ought to be coming from the planning department.
Well, you're not wrong, but
And the plans that Audrey has aren't necessarily the final plans that were decided upon.
Yeah, we
Right,
don't know what they would have submitted for this committee.
That's
I can
right.
tell you that because I attended all of those meetings, that the HPOZ board was favorably disposed to the plans that they saw.
Okay.
Yeah, they came back twice, so we have no guarantee that the plans that Audrey has found are the final plans, because the board in their initial consultation did request a number of changes, which applicants did follow through on.
Right, they produced those changes and again, were favorably received.
Link.
No, but they put it in the ENS and they do not have the link.
Correct. The
Under
link,
application or initial documents.
I'm sorry,
neither one?
Teresa's asking me. No, the link is there, and when you go to it, it's empty,
Both sides.
both sides.
Yeah, this is totally inappropriate.
Right.
Maybe it's an oversight or an error. They just
I don't
didn't
think so. I think
post
it's this ED1 thing, but if I knew how to,
And it brings to mind another question of where are the applicants for this meeting? Would they not have attended?
Yeah, they should be here.
well, that would assume. Okay, guys,
Just tell me where to go.
I don't really know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, procedurally, is it for this committee to arrange to have these plans included in their agenda and the applicants present, or is that the responsibility of the planning department?
Audrey, if we, can we allow you to share? Maybe you can share that
Oh,
document with us?
Well, no, the reason I don't want to do that is because, as has been pointed out, they might bring a different set of plans from what the HPOZ board saw. We have no way to know, and it would be probably a waste of time and not appropriate to review plans that went to the HPOZ board, even though they were pretty happy with them. And if we had them before us tonight, many of us who went to those HPOZ board meetings could say, yeah, these are the same, but we can't do that.
Laura
And
mentioned.
I go back to my procedural question. Is this supposed to be the planning department that gets the applicant there
yeah,
and provides the plans?
the planning department has a written memorandum of understanding with the
Gotcha.
Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, i.e. neighborhood councils, to provide plans for every application, be it an overheight fence, an HPOZ case. I mean, I get all kinds of
Got
crap.
it. Got it. Well, time for a kick in the pants to the planning department.
Right.
I don't believe that we can act on this. as
Probably
much as
not.
I would like to make a recommendation.
Right, so was it Daniel Mata? I'm even trying to see if I can get the link.
Yes,
Yep,
it's
it's Daniel
Daniel.
Mata.
Yay for us.
Absolutely, Daniel.
So sad that you guys sighed together.
Steve, I love the look on your face.
Oh, you just don't know the half of it, Michael. I wish someone would support my motion. I think we really need to send a message to the planning department. This is
Right, I'm just saying, remember, we're being
It's recorded.
That's okay. I mean, the planning department knows very well how I feel about them.
okay, but you
Well, they
think,
have caused delay to this applicant by failing to provide these plans and to
oh
get the
no, they're
applicants
not
there.
causing any delay. Trust me on this. There's no delay to the applicant. It's us.
Are we caught up in this rush to approve through ED1, Laura? Is that your opinion?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ugh. Well,
Okay,
on
so
the
let me
plus
ask
side,
this.
I would have recommended approval for it.
Let me ask this question.
Mhm.
Why shouldn't we approve it?
Because we have no.
You don't even
plans
know
to
what it
review.
looks like.
So is it based on our wish to review the aesthetics?
No,
Is that-
so
No.
what happens, Michael? What happens, Michael? Well, this is my experience. The city, you can sign up to receive all of the notices. It's an ENS system, an early notification system with all of the activity taking place. They send it out every 2 weeks. They send out a full list of all of these notices.
Yes.
And normally you can click on the link, and when you go in there, you can see the initial documents that were submitted, and
Yes.
you can see the status of what's happening with these other things. So in this case, when you clicked on the link, there was nothing there. So
Yes.
it may be oversight, or there could be something else.
Okay, and here, I can share with you.
And I
but
think, Michael, the issue here
Yeah.
is our responsibility to the community
That's it.
about this building is
They
no
don't want to
different
use-
than our responsibility to the community about the
If
event.
they don't have it
Theater.
in ENS, then we should.
Well,
do-
I have a question, and please don't misunderstand my concern. We all know that we're rushing to build housing and that that's very important, hence the reason for ED1. Under normal circumstances, our review process is mostly to make sure that the developer is following the procedures, not displacing anybody, not doing the wrong thing. With an empty lot in the location it is, do we know for sure that anybody's doing anything wrong? Is there any reason, any concrete reason that we know about that we should not be obstructing this thing? And so I'm just trying to understand.
Mike, Teresa has her hand up, and I know Audrey and Steve do too, but.
Yeah, so my concern, Michael, is when a developer is proposing a project, and I really love when John Arnold is here, because it's not just the aesthetic. We don't know if they're asking for other incentives. And from my perspective, I'm going to advocate and try to get some trees. So yes, I want the developer to come in. I want to talk about the project. I want to know, there may be other board members who want to advocate for lower income or not just affordable housing. So yeah, they need to come, and John Arnold would then also put his 2 cents in about the development and the aesthetics and the FAR and the, setbacks and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they need to come in.
Right.
That's my opinion.
So, and weirdly enough, I realize I was probably at that meeting. This is very familiar to me. January 3rd, I'm talking about. Okay, so,
Right.
yeah.
I can try to show that one page on the plans that had a colorized version of the elevations, just if anyone's curious to see it.
Sure. I'm making you a co-host, so if you know how to share.
So I've got share screen, and
Right.
I need
You-
to
Then go, yeah, what you would do is you go to,
Ah.
yeah.
boom. Okay, so I've clicked on the page I want to share with you all, and now there, can you see it?
Starting, there it is. Okay.
Ta-da, my first share.
Audrey, you just said you didn't want to share that.
Well,
We're not going to act on it. So I'm
Okay.
just providing this for you just for your own curiosity, but we're not acting on this because we don't, as a practical matter, know that this is what they would have supplied to us.
Mhm.
But just for your information, this is what the HPOZ board said. Yeah, we like this.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Marina, you can jump in and confirm or correct me.
Yeah, no, I think you're
this is
right.
the one.
Yeah, I think you're right, Audrey, because we can see the one in the upper left corner is where we started. And in the bottom sequence is where we ended up.
Right. Yeah. Ignore that one in the upper left, which was the one I liked, but never mind. So yeah, this is it. It's a 3-story as it reads from the street, but it's a 4-story building. And it's 18 units and it's near a park and a library. And yeah, so never mind though, we need to
So
have
the only
department send this
here's the
to
only
you.
real.
Okay, Michael,
I'm
I've
sorry.
got with their hands up. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Steve.
well, Audrey, your hand is still up, but did you have something to say other
No,
than
I'm just getting around to, okay,
Okay.
there we
Just,
go.
if I may.
Wait, no, you may not. Steve has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then put your hand up.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
I think there are a lot of issues that this committee normally discusses related to these kinds of constructions that are relevant to the community, including how the rear elevation impacts the houses behind the building. There are many issues that come up, and that's just one of them. Regardless of what the HPOZ board decided, which has its own limitations legally as to what it can and cannot discuss, which this committee's actual boundaries go way beyond. I think that this is an issue about being responsive to the community, and that it's irresponsible and actually inappropriate for us to further discuss and make any decisions about this agenda item without the official plans.
Okay. And then Michael has a point, then I have a point.
Okay. I just
Michael.
want to say, Steve, I couldn't agree with you more. However, I do want to say for the record, based on the evidence we just witnessed, the only real difference that what we've seen is the second iteration appears to observe the side yard setbacks that gives the fire department access. That was missing from the first. The rear alley looks as though it takes away the concerns of the adjacent property owner to the south, in that they would be facing the opposite direction. That doesn't look like a main street, but I could be wrong. I do believe and understand and agree that based on everything that we have, it would be irresponsible to vote on anything without first further reviewing the plans.
Okay, so here is my core point. The mayor signs something that says anything that's 100% affordable under her emergency orders would be deemed fully ministerial and essentially must be approved. There's now debate, apparently, as to whether she or state law can override the various overlays throughout the city, so that if there's a specific plan in HPOs, the various kinds of specific plans, that they're there for a reason. So that's a big question mark, because that's what we are facing now on a day-to-day basis. The case that we all got so angry about a few months ago on Venice Boulevard in the Harvard Heights HPOZ was approved today. It never went to the HPOZ.
So Laura, that
Wait. So it's questionable. And I have already talked just more casually to OHR, Office of Historic Resources, as to, there's technical and then there's just good faith. So when somebody has a Mills Act contract, the historical properties contract on, for their home or anything else, technically, if their property is also within an HPOZ, they do not need to go to the HPOZ, they go just straight to OHR. However, almost all the time, OHR, if it's an exterior thing that we're talking about, not an interior thing, almost all the time OHR says, well, just please go to the HPOZ, have a consultation. They're not going to vote, but they may give you really good ideas. And then bring, so have the consultation and then come back to us and we'll talk about any changes that you may need to make because of that. And I don't see why these can't be subject at minimum to that. I'm concerned that this is a redevelopment case with no, how can it be ministerial if it's also a redevelopment case? So I see more hands and we're,
Just a question.
To death.
Yeah, just a question comment. On this particular case, I see it needs CPIO and HPOZ approval. Do we
Right.
know if it's been reviewed by both committees and
The
approved?
CPIO authorizes 100%. Remember the CPIO is a little different. Our most of our corridor CPIOs are programmatic.
Yes.
So they're asking for on a commercial corridor, normally you have to have a mixed use. You have to have a minimum of X amount of retail or commercial space. The exception to that is if it's 100% affordable. So this would meet the CPIO specific plans in effect. And it does not appear to be asking anything extra in height because the CPIO also gives you one extra story of height if it's 100% affordable.
Right.
So I think that would have been a ministerial review with or without the mayor's special program for this, because so I don't think that's an issue. I am concerned about the redevelopment plan because the case number includes RDP. So that means there's an exception in what they're doing that is not what the redevelopment plan would authorize, because otherwise it wouldn't be an RDP case.
So our question is, what is that?
I don't know what it is. Yes,
That's what I'm-
that's one of our questions.
Okay.
What's the exception to the redevelopment plan that you appear to be approving ministerially?
That's valid. That's
Yeah.
valid.
Okay. All right. Well, so please don't kill the messenger, because what the messenger's trying to do is alert the community as to these cases. Okay. So when I put them on the agenda, sometimes all they are is, hey guys, we have this. And that may be as much as I know for an initial review as well. So, I want not to avoid putting these cases on the agenda because I'm having trouble getting the plans. So,
What's the action item, Laura?
There is no
There
action.
is none. We're going to move on to the next agenda item.
Yeah, this was only a discussion item. Sorry. The next item is follow up to previous cases, ENS, old business, kind of that grab anything that we've talked about before, discussion, and we should say possible action. So does anybody have old business? Follow up on previous cases or anything? Have we had a meeting since?
Just the 1st of August, I think.
When were we at City Hall? Was it after that? Did you guys, have you guys heard follow up on the case? I'm not supposed to be involved.
Right.
1848 Gramercy. Did we meet before or after the hearing at?
We haven't been back in.
We have not been back yet.
So that case, 1848 South Gramercy, came before the Planning and Land Use Committee.
Of the City Council.
City Council Planning and Land Use. And it was
Deferred.
The developer did speak, but that was only after, it's not deferred, there's another word.
Continued.
It was continued, along with several other cases, by the way, but it was thrown in there and it was continued. But they did allow people to still come up and speak through public comments and on some of the other items. So the developer did come up and shared his frustration and concern that it was continued.
And then Heather Hutt did a motion to require, I don't know how this is gonna go, but to require 2 studies, one on noise, which is
and
not
fumes.
something that had been addressed at all before that, and the other on historical.
That
So,
was fumes.
no, they didn't order anything on fumes.
Well, it was the noise.
Right, and now subsequent to that, or around the same time, California Appellate Court case came down for another West Adams case, 806 Adams, tossing it back to the city of LA, in other words, ruling against the city, because it had identified noise as a potential impact and added conditions and mitigations to have less noise, but also gave it a categorical exemption. So the appellate court ruled that this quote, the city can't have it both ways. If you're going to put conditions and mitigations, you must do a more complete environmental review. So, which leaves this situation kind of odd because they didn't, yeah,
Do anything.
right.
So, and the other point that was made is that it appears that the state, and as Laura just mentioned with Adams, the 800 block of Adams, they are accepting the sequel appeals. I guess that's the same. So maybe this will have, when this puts pressure on the planning and land use, because and CPC, that many times when sequel appeals are made, they just push them through. But I think they will start
Right,
reviewing them, because there's a possibility that the appeal will
Right.
be thrown back.
because there was apparently the city lost 2 cases in August, and they're both CEQA. I mean, they're both categorical exemptions. The other one was something to do with affordable housing. So it's relevant to us. So we're gonna try and get more information about that. So the other thing is that, you know, whether or not you are a neighborhood council board member, you are still invited to attend the Congress of Neighborhoods, which is on Saturday, September 23rd in City Hall. And again, UNNC will send out an e-blast, probably the Metro open houses, and this will be in the same e-blast, sort of news. But there will be a Planning 101 session that John and I are doing. The first half, our kind of our Planning 101 presentation, but and then the second half of that hour and a half or hour and 40 minutes will be other neighborhood council planning and zoning chairs talking about how to effectively make your planning and zoning committee or land use committee more effective. So that's a morning session. This is all free. We'll send out the links. Apparently they have great food, and they do have other sessions and can meet community leaders from throughout the city. So, okay, anything else? Do we, I don't think we have any. I feel like we have some other determinations, but my brain is dead. And sorry we were dark in August because South Sea's house had some work done. Okay.
We've done early.
We're done early. Okay. Thank you all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. I think you fell off.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna end the meeting though. Bye.
All right, good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
And bye, Donna.